What's going on, guys? Welcome to Comic Island. My name is Joey, and today I'm super excited that they have finally released details on one of my favorite Aquaman stories of all time, Aquaman the Throne of Atlantis. Alright guys, so first off, if you haven't read the Throne of Atlantis story arc, I highly recommend checking out Aquaman issues 15, 16, and Justice League issues 16 and 17, or you can continue watching this video and I'll give you a quick recap on what happens in the comics. This way, you can have a clear understanding of how this coming story will play out. Spoiler warning, of course. So alright, let's begin. The Throne of Atlantis begins in the big oceans. Missiles prematurely launched from Navy battleships. The Navy believes that the missiles missed major structures and caused minimal damage since it landed in obscure areas of the big ocean. Unfortunately, this is not the case. The missiles did in fact land on populated cities of Atlantis. The current King Orm, brother of Arthur, sees this as an attack and decides to bring war to the surface world. King Orm releases a tidal wave, which devastates Metropolis and Gotham City. The Justice League is separated during this attack but quickly regroups to discover what has happened. Arthur attempts to calm the war by confronting his brother, Ocean Master, but the Justice League arrives and Arthur faces a dilemma on whose side he will choose. Ocean Master makes the first move and banishes these Justice League members to the bottom pits of the ocean where the trench creature resides. At the Watchtower, Cyborg sends out a distress call to the reserved Justice League to take action and defend the surface world against the full force of Atlantis. The Justice League members eventually broke free from their imprisonment but accidentally releases the trench creatures as well. Arthur faces off with his brother and the two siblings fight for what they believe in, while the other Justice League members deactivate the bombs that were set to explode under Boston. After realizing that his plan A was thwarted, Ocean Master uses his crown to flood the city, but Mira stops the tsunami in place and Zatanna freezes it over. Aquaman takes this opportunity and attacks Ocean Master while demanding his surrender. The tactic works and King Orm yields along with the rest of the Atlantean army. The heroes on the surface world and the full might of the Atlantean army now focuses their attack on the trench creatures. But the trench creatures are too strong and only the scepter of the dead king can control them. It is discovered that Vulko was behind the missile attack on Atlantis to provoke this war in order to convince Arthur to return home. Since Vulko achieved his goals, he offers a scepter to Arthur. The newly crowned king of Atlantis sends a trench creature back home and imprisons Vulko to stand trial for his crimes against Atlantis, but Arthur releases his brother into police custody to stand trial for his actions against the surface world. Following the events transpired in the last few days, Arthur believes that this is the only way the two worlds may have peace. Alright, now that you're all caught up on how it happens in the comics, I want to discuss all the changes that will be made for this upcoming animated movie. So the first most obvious change is that Aquaman has not yet joined the Justice League. This movie will showcase him as a main protagonist. About time if you ask me. Also, this animated movie is the second New 52 movie released by DC Comics. Remember in the previous DC animated film Justice League War, where during Darkseid's invasion, the metahumans that we know as the Justice League were formed to stop the invasion. But in Justice League War, Aquaman was replaced by Shazam. This was the biggest disappointment I had when I was watching the movie. I kept on asking, where is Aquaman? Well, I guess this upcoming DC animated film is made for fans like myself who really wanted an Aquaman-centered movie. So in the comics, Aquaman went through a ton of depression after his father died and after he learns of his Atlantean heritage from a banished Atlantean named Vulko. And of course, we all know that Vulko will play a huge part in the Throne of Atlantis story arc, but I didn't see him in the trailer, so we gotta wait to see if he is even in the film. Alright, the next change is that Arthur's mom is still alive. In the comics, he only met his mother when he was a baby, but now she is still alive and is the current queen of Atlantis. Now, I'm not a big fan of this change, because in the trailer we see that the queen is the voice of reason. She does not want to go to war, but Arthur's brother sees the surface world as a threat because during the events of Justice League War, the king of Atlantis, Ocean Master's father, was killed. Now, Orm's motivations in the comics are vastly different from the upcoming film, and I'm glad to say that I can relate to both versions. Put yourself in Orm's shoes. Surface world problems caused your father's death. You blame the surface world. You are the angered prince of Atlantis with thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, and the full force of the ocean at your command. What would you do? Now, Orm's next step seems less heroic and more villainous because he actually takes the missiles and launches them towards his home to provoke war. So in the comics, Orm is a king, and with a heavy heart, he takes Atlantis to war with the surface world. As king, he can't show weakness, and so because of the missile attack, he only has one option. I love how they tied the events of Justice League War into the Throne of Atlantis by showcasing the aftermath which resulted in the death of Orm's father, but I haven't seen Shazam in any images online, so I'm wondering if he will be around for the Throne of Atlantis. So I do want to point out that we will be getting Aquaman's love interest, the sorceress Mira. So in the comics, she was actually sent to Arthur from her underwater colony named Zebel to kill him, but obviously she falls in love with him and rebels against her colony and ends up being the Queen of Atlantis alongside Aquaman. So it would be interesting to see if the movie hints at her Zebel heritage. Alright guys, so that's all the points I can think of for now, and I will be giving you my review of this movie after its release. At the moment there isn't a full trailer or even a release date, but I am guessing that it will be released later this year, and I do hope DC Comics continues to bring us more animated movies since Marvel is kinda kicking their ass in the cinematic universe. So how do you feel about this upcoming animated film? Are you excited? And did you enjoy the Throne of Atlantis story arc? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Atlantis thirsts for a new perspective. Someone who understands the surface world and will lead us into the next century. The Queen needs a beacon, Arthur. Maybe it's you.
Our time has come. I will bring our world crashing down upon them!